What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you're now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button down below. Also, if you check the description and click it, you will see that there's a Patreon link. You can become a Patreon supporter. All you gotta do is click the link, and you can recommend movies and music for me to review. Whatever you want, just hit me up and we'll talk about it. With that being said, today we are here with an exclusive Patreon review that was recommended by Patreon supporter Movie Mash. Shout outs to Derek.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Today I am looking at the 2020 film Unhinged by starring Russell Crowe. Now, I've never personally heard of this damn movie, but my boy Derek hits me up and he's like, yo, you have to watch this movie. It's freaking mad. And I'm just like, is it mad or is it just mad? He's like, it's mad. All right, cool. So I'm like, well, let's go ahead and check this out then. So he's like, he says it's up my alley. I'm like, okay, let me see. Right. So the movie, I'm going to tell you what I don't like about the movie off top. One thing two things off the top. One thing is the main lady in the film, Karen Pistorius. I guess that's the way you say her name. She hasn't been in much film from what I know of. Only notable name that I saw on that list was Mortal Engines. But yeah, man, I don't like her. Like, I mean, her acting was like meh, and like her as a character was just meh. And I don't know if it was just her or if it was the story made her that way. But fuck, man, like when you're watching this, you're just like, dude, like you kind of want to shake her, you know? The movie has this thing where it just like telegraphs things for you, and you're just like, okay, I'm assuming that I'm supposed to pay attention to this. You know, like the scene where the boy's like, you should really have a lock for your phone. You should have a password. And I'm just like, okay, I guess it's going to play a part. And then they freaking zoom in on another license plate of a neighbor, High Daisy or whatever. I was like, okay, I guess that's going to play some sort of role in it later. You know, and it's like, okay, they're doing these things, I guess, trying to answer questions that I guess people are going to ask. But the thing is, when you're watching the movie, you're just like, you still have tons of fucking questions because this film is kind of retarded in ways, you know? So you're watching this damn film and you're sitting here thinking the whole time, you're always like, well, why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? Like, what's wrong with you? Just say sorry. You're watching it the whole time. You're like, dude, like you're escalating the situation for no freaking reason, right? The whole time I'm sitting there just watching it, like, this shit is so unbelievable. It's one of those unbelievable films. And I know that a lot of films are unbelievable, but you really, 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 in order to watch this film and enjoy it, even somewhat small, minuscule amounts, you have to really just take your mind out of it. You have to just cut all the realistic aspects out of the picture whatsoever in order to enjoy this film. The only real, true, enjoyable aspect of this film is Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe does a freaking amazing job in this movie. My boy looks like a fat ass, he looks like a fat John Goodman.
I make garbage. Frank.
Dude, like he looked like he took a page out of John Goodman's book. My wife pointed that out while we were watching it. She was like, man, this man over here trying to look like John Goodman. I'm like, yeah, that belly do look like, you know, Roseanne John Goodman, you know, from the 90s, but I digress. Yeah, dude, but he's like this big, broly, fat character, but it goes with him. It goes with him. Like, it makes him a little bit more menacing. And shout outs to Russell Crowe, man, in this movie for putting the beats on these kids. Man, he was whooping their ass. And like, I mean, my man gave him that John Bradshaw Layfield clothesline from hell. That shit was funny. And he was just shoving the wife all over the place. That's, to me, makes it super believable. Like, sometimes you watch movies and then you have this girl just like all of a sudden just like she haymakers a guy and the guy just falls over the place. Man, Russell Crowe was eating that shit and just pushing her all over the place and just throwing her around the room. That was super believable. And my boy was doped up like a mofo. So the thing that like I said, at one point in this film, at the beginning of the film, Russell Crowe starts talking. When we're first introduced to his character, like actually talking, he starts speaking, and I'm like, yo, he has an accent, right? Then all of a sudden, I swear to you, the accent just disappears. Like every other scene in the movie, the shit is gone. And like sometimes it like surfaces briefly. I want to know, if that was on purpose. Like, was he really trying to go for like an accent and then just forgot that he was doing that and then just went with his regular ass voice? Because I swear to you, I promise you, in that first opening scene, he sounds like he has like this weird little southern accent. And then all of a sudden that shit just disappears. Excuse me. That was another thing that drove me crazy. I was just like, man, my boy Russell Crowe here just taking checks, man. Come on, you that's a fall from grace right now. You went from Gladiator to this, like, okay. But like I said, he's a very menacing character, and I think it's dope. But come on, man, like this dude, just the synopsis of the story is this: there's a freaking deranged divorced dude that starts like basically my man goes on a freaking killing spree because he's upset with his failed marriage. That's essentially the idea of the movie. And he runs into this rude ass lady on the road, who, well, not rude, well, I guess he's rude. And basically he's already pissed off. He's already deranged. He's already upset. His marriage has had him up to here. And my man is like literally like just, he's already snapped already. So basically when she responds to him, he's just like, well, fuck it, man. I'm about to make you have the worst day of your life, you know? And it was just, so he dedicates literally his whole damn day to ruining this lady's life. And I'm just sitting here like, how unfucking believable is this? This man just committed murder, like an arson. And he really want to take the time out of his day, not to escape the country, not to flee the state, not to run away or anything. My man literally is like, I'm going to stay in the city and I'm going to prove a lesson. I'm going to show this woman a lesson and I'm going to torment her for a whole day. That shit don't make no sense. And then on top of that, like just it, like I guess they were trying to show all the traffic in the city to be like, this is why the police response times were so slow. But at the same time, it is super fucking unbelievable that my man Russell Crowe was really getting away with half the shit that he got away with, you know? Like no police officers were responding in time to this, and like you're having this full-on fucking conversation on the phone and nobody's calling a police officer. And if somebody's calling a police officer, no police officer showed up yet, you know? And then in the scene and then it's funny because the scene that the police officer does show up, Russell Crowe straight out pulls out some funny little magic trick and prevents himself from being captured, which I thought was pretty dope. I'm not even gonna lie. Russell Crowe was ruthless in this movie, and that was the only thing that kept me entertained. I'm mad as hell that I had to pay for this movie, but you know, I'm just saying, like, you know, could have saved myself a $5, like $5, you know, like it's $5.99. I could have saved myself that. But overall, man, the movie it's fun to watch, but it's not something that I would want to purchase. It's not something that I would probably even want to watch again. It's just a movie. Like I really went into this like, okay, well, you know, my boy Russell Crowe about to put in some work, and he did. But it's not something where it's the cast and the characters around them aren't likable. Like it's so look, this lady is so stupid that her son is the only logical one in the room. Like her son be hitting her with logic, like, yo, you blaming the world, mom, but you know, you were the one that woke up late. You're blaming the world, mom, but you fucked up. Mom, why don't you just apologize? It's not that fucking serious. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, this kid is literally the voice of reason. And I'm just sitting there like, yo, who the fuck is the adult in this? Like, who is the adult here? Like, is it you or is it him? It honestly might have made a better story if she was like a freaking teenager or a high school student or something, or going to college and she was like with her little brother. That might have made more sense because, like, you know, you have this preview, like, you know, you're still developing, so your mind might not all be there, but you're supposed to be a grown-ass woman with a kid and ran a successful business, and you telling me you ain't got no common sense? Really? Like, as much crazy shit goes on in the world, which is highlighted at the beginning of the movie, you're telling me you thought it would be a good idea to mouth off to some stranger and just go crazy on this dude with your son sitting in the back seat with the window down? Make that make sense. This man had a pistol and your son rolled down the window and was not able to roll back up the window. He had, let's just say, my man, let's just change the scenery for a minute. Let's just say he's in Compton, right? And he rolls down the window and then she starts talking crazy to him. there's a chance that the other man in the other car, the one that's talking shit back, is probably gonna pull out a gun and pop your ass. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. So that's my review. I wouldn't watch this again. If I have to give it a grade, I'm giving it a 2 out of 5. Russell Crowe is the only thing that keeps this movie afloat. It is a kind of like a nonstop action thing. It's very adrenaline paced from beginning to end. But the fact that I have to watch this whiny, nimble, and annoying woman for like an hour and 30 minutes just drives me nuts. Like, she makes so many stupid decisions, and it's just like, it makes it just unwatchable. But if you want to go ahead and take a gamble on it, go ahead. You're by all means, do so. This is Dave from the 80s, and you are now exiting the cinema chop shop. Shout outs to Movie Mash and Derek for recommending this movie for me to watch. Thank you for being a Patreon supporter. And then everybody else, you guys can become Patreon supporters too. And I can make reviews specifically for you. Thank you very much and have a great day. Adios.